Right, for everybody who's joining now, who's watching this later, I'm gonna put a little timestamp in the description so that you guys can skip forward to when there's people actually here and stuff. It shouldn't be too long, inshallah. Right, what we got? I'll lift it up a little bit more. Anybody come to join me yet? Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you this evening? Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum. Well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you guys here. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, by the way. Assalamu alaikum. Nice to see you guys this evening. Our first comment. Good stuff. Jazakallahu khair for the thumbs up. Right, who's here? Got a few of you guys here already. Nice to see you this evening. Hope you guys are ready for a productive and beneficial 2021, inshallah. Okay, bismillah. Maybe we'll wait for 5 minutes, right? When the clock's up to 5 minutes, then we'll just, we'll get it popping, inshallah. We'll talk to any of the stuff that I wanted to. Because I have a list of some things to go through with you guys. Yeah. Cool. Who else is here? Good evening. Or, depending on what time it is, good afternoon. Some of you guys over in the States. Bismillah. Okay. Hello, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you? Okay, Ja'far Majid, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing this evening? You have questions? Fire away. Go ahead. I'm gonna wait until the clock's on 5 minutes before I actually get started with the stuff that I want to talk about. So if any of you guys want to talk about anything now, if you have any questions now, then we can talk about them now. So stick them in. Because I have maybe 5 or 6 things to talk through, and yeah, when they're done, we'll just do Q&A at the end. If there's anything else that you guys want to ask, we'll do that at the end. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, while we're waiting, okay, Bismillah. Who else is here? Anyone else who's here? Give me a thumbs up. How much time will it take, or will I need to learn Fusha? Well, that depends on a few things. It depends on how talented you are, as a linguist. If you are very talented, it will take you less time. If you're not very talented, it will take you more time. Obviously, people vary in how and in their natural ability for picking up languages. Another thing is how hard you're willing to work, how many hours you're willing to invest a week and stuff like that. Another thing is how consistent are you going to be, how regular is your study going to be, and then another thing is what support do you have. Those are kind of the main big 4 factors. And generally, like you need a combination of them. You need to have some level of being talented, of being like a naturally gifted linguist, some level. You need to have some level of support around you, whether it be good resources or, native speakers who can help you or teachers who can help you. You need to have some level of consistency and some level of hard work. And if you fall very short on any of those, it'll be very hard to ever reach a level that you want to in Arabic. So you typically need to bring some level of each of those to the table. But if I were to give you like a general, like in my experience of the students who I've worked with in my experience, to get to a level, where you can read like, the important mutun, for Islamic studies or whatever, I'd say you put in a good year, You can be very confident, but it depends how, it depends sort of how much time you're putting in as well. But people study full time, people can accomplish a lot in that time. You know, people can get to that sort of level in 6, 7 months if they're studying full time. But yeah, it depends on a lot of things really. It's quite a hard question to answer. Okay, well we are at 5 minutes now, so I have a few things that I'd like to talk through, inshallah. Okay, so let's get started. So I have a list of things that I want to talk about for the new year, just to inform you guys. If any of you guys, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to put a timestamp in this so that people can jump forward to now, because a lot of people who join this later won't want to watch the whole kind of 5 minutes of chit chat at the beginning. So first thing is I'd like to do a little roundup of last year, right? Because we accomplished some really cool things last year on the Arabic in 60 Steps program and here on the YouTube channel and stuff as well. So I wanted to kind of celebrate those milestones with you guys a little bit, and thank you all so much as well for your support and your participation and everything. So firstly, we accepted 165 new students onto the Arabic in 60 Steps program, which, you know, which was amazing. You know, like that's, you know, it's like, what is it, like 3 a week, more than 3 a week that were joining the Arabic in 60 Steps program. So, you know, that's really cool. I'm really, really proud of that. Another thing is we've nearly reached 250,000 downloads for the Arabic in 60 Steps podcast as well, which again is, you know, I'm so grateful to you guys for your participation in that. And also on the YouTube channel, 14,000 subscribers as well. That's kind of where we're at now. So I haven't really thought about what numbers I'd like to achieve by the end of this year. You know, I've never really gone by it, never really gone by the numbers. Like, I've not really behaved in ways and prioritized getting big numbers in terms of viewership and subscribers and stuff. But at the end of it, it's nice to be able to look back and celebrate that stuff, isn't it? So that was the first thing. Next thing is what text are we going to be talking about? Because before the new year, we did like 3 months of reading through the Alauddin text, and that was received really well. And we had giveaways and stuff like that, and it was really cool. So we're going to continue with that. I think I did really think about exploring other texts that we could read, but I think like we've only really just started the Alauddin text, so I think we'll just continue with it for another, you know, for another few weeks at least. Like for the rest of January at least, we'll continue with Alauddin. So we'll do maybe on Wednesday if I can record it, but if not, then we'll do it on Monday like we were doing before. Yeah, so the next episode of that will either be this Wednesday or next Monday, and it'll go at 6 p.m. as well. We'll keep it at that consistent time, inshallah. We will do giveaways as well. We actually have loads of giveaways for this month for January. I'm not going to do it in 12-week batches. We're going to do it per month this time, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to be going on after this month. We'll talk about that later on. But at least for this month, for January, I really want to have a big push, inshallah, to get students engaged and really support as many students as we can. But I'll tell you about some of the giveaways that we're going to have this month. So there's a sister called Amina Saber. I think her name's Saber, the surname, right? And she does calligraphy art. She does really beautiful calligraphy art. And I've managed to persuade her to do some calligraphy art for us that we can give away on the YouTube channel to the students who are really active. So that's something that we'll do. We'll have some calligraphy art, which we'll ship out to you guys wherever you are in the world, for those of you who are really, really active. Another thing is a load of books. Okay, I've got some books I want to give away. I'm going to show you them. Let me grab them. Okay, we do have more, but these are just some of them. We have this pack of cards. Actually, these are Surah An-Nas Arabic Quran cards as well. We'll give those away to some active students. We also have this little vocab book. We've talked about this a few times on the channel before. This Chambers Arabic vocabulary book. We'll give away one of those too. And we're also going to give away the Arabic visual dictionary as well. So we've got some of these books that we'll give away, inshallah, to you guys absolutely for free, just for your participation and for being part of it. So we have loads of giveaways. I think it's three pieces of calligraphy art that the artist is doing for us that we'll give away here on this YouTube channel, and we've also got 3 books as well that we'll give away. How we'll distribute that, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we'll have different prizes for different kinds of participation. Like we'll have one prize for like best comment or best question, some prizes for turning up every time and stuff like that. But I'll outline those things maybe in our first lesson, whether it be on Wednesday or next Monday, inshallah. Nice. So the other thing is that the Arabic in 60 Steps program is now open again. We were full by the end of I think it was the 18th of December. We were full for last year, but we've reopened now. So I think it was the 2nd of January we reopened for a batch of 30 students this month. And but already 7 of those spaces have gone. So I want to say congratulations and welcome to those 7 students who joined. So let's give them a shout out. So. Congratulations and welcome to the program, John, Abdullah, Nabira, Mohammed, Mohsin, Rizwan, and Amina. I think that's 7. Yeah, so 7 of you, congratulations. So there are only 23 spaces left on the Arabic in 60 Steps program for this month's intake. What is there? Yeah, so that's right. So the next thing, the thing, this is the last thing that I need to mention. After this, we'll open up for some Q&A, inshallah, if you guys want to ask anything. So the last thing is the reason why I'm only going to continue with the Alauddin walkthroughs for this month is because I'm thinking about taking a bit of a break from YouTube and from my podcast. To be honest, like when you create the amount of content that I have, and when you build a program like I have that's so big, like the Arabic in 60 Steps program, it's just such a big program. You can kind of risk falling out of love with it, with the language. And as a teacher, you should be in love with the language. Like it should be infectious. Your students should feel that you really love it, right? And you're also in pursuit of more knowledge of it. And I just like to take a little bit of time to be learning Arabic for the sake of loving it, rather than for the sake of like my students chasing me for something. I hope you know what I mean by that. Like all of the students who join the program, all the resources are there, and obviously I have energy for them and stuff, obviously. But in terms of like YouTube and podcast and stuff, I'm thinking of just taking a bit of a break. And the reason why we only have 30 spaces left in the Arabic in 60 Steps program is because there are only 30 books left that I have printed at the moment, and I'm not planning on having another batch of books printed like for the next month, like I normally do. But I'm not planning on that immediately because I'm thinking of taking a break. So for those of you who are thinking about joining the Arabic in 60 Steps program, if you don't do it this month, I don't know when you will be able to. Yeah, because there are only 30 more books that exist in the world. Yeah, so I'm thinking of taking a little break just from the YouTube channel and the podcast. And then after that, I may even sort of repackage the 60 Steps program, because now we have over 600 students. And in the future, I don't know if I'm going to give students the WhatsApp number like I have done. Like now, the students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program, and any of you who joined this month, you have my WhatsApp number. You know what I mean? Like I have a phone, and the job of that phone is for the Arabic in 60 Steps students to message me on weekdays, and I answer their questions one-on-one. Right? Like the value in that, and like. But how consuming it is to me is it is a lot. Do you know what I mean? To have 600 students who you service like that, you answer their questions one-on-one like that, and I'm thinking of just repackaging the program a little bit. So honestly, there's so much value in joining this month. Like, the things that you get this month, I don't know if they'll ever be available in the future. So the first thing is the WhatsApp number, right? Like that might just be supplemented in the future just for like a really good FAQ page, or like one live a month on the Facebook group or something like that, where I just answer questions live once a month or something instead. The price of the program might change, but we'll see about that. I haven't really thought about that just yet. The next thing is the workbooks. So something that students really love about the Arabic in 60 Steps program is our workbooks, right? Like I'm really proud of the workbooks, the artwork, and how well thought through they are, how user-friendly they are for the students, how spacious they are, and stuff like that. And even like the quality of paper that we have them printed on and stuff. All those things make a big difference to our students. But especially at the moment with coronavirus, like shipping them has just been really unreliable. Like we've had a couple of issues sending books to faraway countries, New Zealand, Australia, Brunei, Malaysia, our students out there. They've always ended up there, but we've just had sort of unnecessary headaches. So I don't know if we'll do the books in the same way in the future as well. So there's quite a lot of changes to consider, inshallah. Like the way that the program's been and the amount of value that it is. If you want it the way that it's built now, then I'm not sure if you'll be able to get it if you don't join this month. Or we may even run out of spaces before the end of the month. We usually do. Like last month we ran out of 35 spaces. It was last month by the 18th. Oh, I'm getting a notification. Sorry guys, just a second. So yeah, so those are just some of the things that I'm thinking, inshallah. So just as a roundup, what have I mentioned? So I've talked about returning to the Alauddin series. So I'm pretty sure we're going to do that. Either episode 13 is either going to come out on Wednesday or next Monday. But then in the future, After that, we're going to do every Monday at 6 p.m. because that's what we always did before. I talked about giveaways. Yeah, then I talked about giveaways. We've got some books. This one, Visual Arabic Dictionary, Chambers Vocabulary. I'm also going to give away Surah An-Nas Quran cards as well. As well as some beautiful Arabic calligraphy work that our sister Amina Sabir is doing as well. I'm going to put her Instagram handle in the description as well. It's not there yet, but I'm going to put it there. So if those of you guys are watching this later, it'll be there. Her Instagram handle, so you can go and check it out because she's working on our artwork right now. She's also doing a calligraphy course for the Arabic in 60 Step students. We have a Arabic script course coming out soon for the students who join us as beginners. They need to learn the Arabic script. So the Arabic script course is coming, and Amina is doing an Arabic calligraphy course. You'll need to pay for it. It won't be free for the students, but it'll be available only to Arabic in 60 Step students. It's not available to purchase for students outside the program. I've written into the contract that we have exclusivity to that, so you guys will have access to that. Anyways, so we talked about the prizes for this month for taking part in the Ala al-Din series throughout January. And then we talked about, we congratulated the new students. There's 7 new students already, so there are 23 places left this month in January. And then I talked about maybe taking a break from the YouTube channel and the podcast after we have filled up all of the spaces for this month. And now I'm moving into the comments to answer your questions, inshallah. So Yas said, isn't it until the end of January? Did I say June or July or something, maybe? Another month with J at the front. But I mean until the end of January. Yeah. Okay, guys, stick some questions in. I'll hang out with you guys for a little while. If you have any questions about anything, learning Arabic, Arabic in 60 Steps program, anything else, I'll chill out with you guys until 6. So we've got another 15 minutes or whatever to hang out for a bit. Can you hear the creaking in the floor, by the way? I'm standing on a floorboard. I think it's creaking. Or if you don't have any questions, just say hi. 20 of you come to join me but now this evening. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Where are you guys? Wa alaikum assalam, Ukrainian Muslim from Poland. May Allah bless you. Can you complete the program in your own time? Yes, you can. The content is entirely self-directed. So all of the content is recorded. You can consume it all entirely at your own pace. Yeah, but alongside that, you have access to a WhatsApp number, which comes directly to me. It's not someone on my team or a teacher that I've hired or anything. It's not that. It comes directly to me, and I answer students' questions every single weekday. So if you need to ask questions, it's best if you can ask them on weekdays. But even if you have a question on Saturday or Sunday or something, just send the WhatsApp message. But I probably won't be able to get back to you until the Monday. But in answer to your question, yes, it's 100% self-directed, and you get lifetime access as well. So yeah, you get lifetime access to the program. Yeah. So even if it takes you 5 years to complete it, no worries. Yeah. So it's very self-directed. Even if you wanted to complete it multiple times, or you wanted to complete it and then have access to it for revision at a later date, that's all been made available. Yeah. You're very welcome. Wa alaikum salam, the revert sister. May Allah bless you. How long have you been a Muslim for, sister? Any other questions at all? Just bring them in. How much do you go into detail when it comes to grammar? So it's a pretty grammar-heavy program, I think. If you want me to show you the contents page, I'll reach for the workbook now, and I'll talk you through it. So this is the workbook that all students get in the post. I'll show you the contents page. So mine has some notes in, so this is the contents page, and essentially it's a grammar in use program, I think is a good way to describe it. Like, we start off with phrases, we go into prepositions, nominal sentence, verbal sentence, present tense, active, and the active and the subject would just mean the fa'il. Yeah, so it's like a grammar by grammar structure, but we kind of weave in, like applied Arabic for literature mainly. Yeah, and then there's 60 steps. So the first 51 of them, so all the way up to here, all of these, and then all the way up to here, are grammar-based topics. And then these last 8 lessons are like seminars on Arabic literature. So the literature that we cover are Quran from Mecca, Quran from Medina. We do hadith literature, reading newspapers, classical Arabic poetry, Middle Ages Arabic poetry, modern Arabic poetry, historical texts, and travel writings. Does this program encompass all of the grammar in the three Medina books? To the best of my knowledge, yes. It's been a while since I've looked at the Medina books, but to the best of my knowledge, yes. Will the program help you to be able to understand the Quran? Yes. In fact, the program has, I think it's 80% of the vocabulary that's used in the Quran. The reason why it's not 100% is because there are some things in the Quran that are only used like once. You know what I mean? Like, and with those words, like sometimes it wouldn't even be helpful to include them in our program. Like, to give you an example, like, in the Quran, in Surah Al-Rahman, Allah uses the word mudahammatan to describe it. It's the plural of a form 14 verb. And mudahamma means like emerald green, and Allah is using it. Yeah, it kind of means like a very dark, like almost black green. Um, yeah, and that word is only used once in the Quran, to the best of my knowledge, right? And it wouldn't even make sense for us to incorporate it into the program somehow. Yeah, but the majority of the vocabulary that's used in the Quran, and the grammar, and also like we even demonstrate some of the grammar through verses of the Quran as well. There's multiple instances where we do that, and as I mentioned, we specifically talk about how the Arabic usage in the Quran differs from surah revealed in Mecca, from surah revealed in Medina. We talk about those different nuances and why that would be the case. It's pretty interesting when we get to that point. So yes is my answer. Sorry, I missed a few questions. Let me go back to them. How to learn enough Arabic quickly to understand the Quran. So purely for understanding the Quran, I would focus on vocabulary, and just go through the most used words. And in fact, I think on my Instagram, I think on the Sam Martin Burr Instagram, not the Arabic in 60 Steps one, but on my personal one, I think I actually have a um, I think I have a like if you go on my highlights, I think I have a highlight that goes through like the most used words in the Quran. Because literally, like when you go through, when you focus on the right things, you can cover tons of the words used in the Quran. Like it's only three words of the Quran that make up 10%, right? Like the word Allah, the word la, and the word min, I think it is. Um, those three words make up 10% of the Quran, something like that. Um, Um, I always wanted to ask you the question of what was more difficult for you, speaking or reading Arabic? Well, that's an interesting question because I learned to read Arabic first, and because it's the first thing that makes it harder, right? Like once you read well, that the speaking will come easier. But as skills in and of themselves, speaking is harder than reading, just in and of itself for two reasons. Number one, reading is a passive skill. You're not having to produce any language, which number one makes it easier, and then also it's not time pressured, right? Because when you read, you sit with the text and you have time to read it. But speaking is time pressured. You have a speaker speaking to you, and they expect a response from you within a certain time. So I mean, reading is like right at the bottom of the difficulty ranking in the hierarchy of the four skills, and speaking is right at the top. That's why, like in the GCSE and the A level exams, certainly when I was involved in them anyway, for the Arabic exams here in the UK, they would always weight slightly more to active skills. So reading and writing would be weighted slightly more because they require you to have a bit more of a high level command over the language. Um, but that wasn't your question. Let me think about. Let me see what your actual question was. So, what was more difficult for me? So, more difficult for me was reading, because I had to do it first, because it was the first thing that I learned, and that made the climb steeper over it. Like once I was able to read and write well, the transition into speaking, especially if you're sort of quite a social person like I am, then that makes the speaking quite easy. Um, how long does your average student take to complete the program? So I give a range for this from between 6 to 18 months. So if we put somewhere in the middle, about a year. Um, there's a book that has the 80% of the most used words in the Quran. It's like £2 or £3 on eBay, or maybe for free. You can maybe get that list for free from somewhere. For me, reading was easier and speaking was harder. Yeah, that was the case for me. German and Arabic don't mix well. What do you mean as are you a German speaker who is learning Arabic, or do you mean are you a native English speaker who is learning Arabic and German at the same time? Oh yeah, that's a good question actually. So if you've lost the WhatsApp number, can we put it in the student forum? So yes, I'm not sure when you joined from your username. I don't recognize it being connected to one of the students. I'm not sure when you joined, but if you joined recently, then you'll have an email with it. But if you didn't, then yeah, that's a good shout. For students who came over from where the old website was onto the new website for you guys, that's a good shout. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow, inshallah. And make a note of it so I don't forget. To a student portal. Cool. I'll do that for you guys tomorrow, inshallah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I missed your question. I did see your name, actually. Sorry. Okay, I must have missed it. Sam, you missed my question. Um, how many hours should a student spend minimum per day or per week? Minimum, I would say 2 hours a week, separately, not in one 2 hour block. Minimum, you should be doing 2 hours a week, and at least 2 days apart. So I'd say like a Monday and Thursday, an hour a day, an hour on Monday, hour on Thursday, or an hour on Tuesday, hour on Friday, whatever. I'd say like that because the thing about languages is languages aren't only knowledge; they're also skill, right? And there's a difference between those. Like to be good at a language, you don't only need to have the information in your head, but you need to be skilled in bringing it to your fingertips or your lips, right? Um, what is the best way to increase your vocab for someone who has been studying Arabic for a year? So my advice with vocab is always to like I don't really believe in learning any part of Arabic separate from each other. Like I just see language as an kind of um, as one kind of just one thing really. Like I don't separate learning vocab from learning grammar and stuff. I just like to see it all in one place. Um, yeah, so I recommend creating sentences using whatever vocab you want to learn, seeing it in multiple contexts. Typically there's some research that suggests that you should see a word in 6 different contexts for it to be in your long-term memory. There's some research for that. So yeah, yeah. So whether that be reading it in different contexts, which you have less control over, or or creating sentences yourself to use each individual word is what I'd recommend. Wa alaikum assalam, akhi. What is the 60 Steps course? Go and check it out, inshallah. Go to arabic60steps.com. Go and check it out. Or go to the link in my bio on go to the link in my bio on the Arabic in 60 Steps Instagram account. What else we got? How would you advise a student to retain the vocabulary they have learnt? So, so it's similar to what I would say with people when they're memorizing the Quran. Um, so, so with your hifz of the Quran, something that I've definitely realized is that it's much harder to retain the Quran you've memorized than it is actually to learn it in the first place, and that's a lot the case the same with with vocabulary and learning any language, right? And the key is to make it into your lifestyle rather than think of it as knowledge that you just kind of lock away. Like with your hifz of the Quran, like for you to be a hafiz, you need to really live the Quran. Like you need to be engaging with it really regularly. Like it needs to be on your lips and in your mind like a lot of the time. You know, it's the same with learning languages as well. Like you need to have a system by which encourages you to practice it a lot and have a lifestyle which encourages you to use it a lot. Whether that be regularly chatting to some of your friends or whatever who are also Arabic students or something like that. How can a person practice pronunciation? So, so for Arabic, there's a science of the makharij al-huruf, right? Like the places in which the huruf come from. The makharij, literally the place where they come out from. And so, like, it's really just something physical about getting your throat to make ayn and your tongue to make ra. And it is harder, like, as you get older, your ear is less inclined to be able to kind of acquire new sounds. But, you know, this is going to sound like a really big tangent, but something that I found really useful was when I read the book Psychocybernetics. Like the book Psychocybernetics, really it's a mindset book, and it's about personal development, really. And like one of the main principles in the book is that we create identities for ourselves, right? Like how we perceive ourselves is really important. So like when you're speaking Arabic, to not perceive it as a foreign language, rather to perceive it as your language. You know what I mean? Like when we, certainly as Muslims, we shouldn't perceive Arabic as a foreign language. You know, we should perceive it as our language, and we should imagine ourselves speaking it fluently. You know, I used to, when I was first learning Arabic, I used to spend a lot of times when I was driving in the car, just speaking Arabic to myself. So, sometimes complete gobbledygook. Do you know what I mean? But just making the sounds, being comfortable with those sounds coming out of my face. You know, I don't know how helpful that is, but I've said two things that were helpful to me anyway. What else we got? What else you got? Okay, so yes, we have a question. Last question. So I know Arabic vocabulary and grammar, but it feels difficult to speak and make sentences quickly. And I expect it's also difficult to understand it as well when people are speaking to you in it. And that's for a quite simple but quite disheartening reason that unfortunately languages are a skill, not just knowledge. You know, like you've obviously got great knowledge in grammar and probably have a few thousand words under your belt of Arabic, right? But you need to be well practiced in the skill as well, and that's really hard. You know, it requires you practicing regularly and getting help regularly. And yeah, you know, it's a little bit like knowledge of push-ups. You know, like people can have a lot of knowledge of push-ups, but unless you do them regularly, you don't get to do many push-ups. I know that's a really oversimplified answer, but that's you know, that's kind of how I think of it. Okay, right. Been here for a little while, so I might go, inshallah. What time is it? You know, I got one of these smart watches. I absolutely love it. Um, tracks my sleep, tracks how many steps I've done. Proper good purchase, man. Even shows you how much I slept last night. 7.5 hours, if you can see it. Which I think's quite good for a dad with two kids. You know, one of them a baby, the other one a toddler. What else we got? Hey Sam, yo, what's your opinion of Amazighi? I have no idea. Don't know any Amazighi. Um, I wish I could give you a more interesting opinion than that, but yeah, unfortunately I can't. Oh, mashallah, welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. I'll check on your account in a second to make sure that everything's in order. Yeah. But you should receive an email in a second that gives you all the information to log in. You know, gives you all your login information. Also, I'll check the time. Your workbook will be shipped tomorrow. There isn't enough time for me to process it today. But it'll be tomorrow morning, inshallah. If you're in the UK, you'll get it really quickly. What do you think of Ibn Arabi? I think Ibn Arabi's the Sufi one, isn't it? Wa alaikum assalam. Would you say that Arabs lost Fusha due to colonization, making them speak Arabic? Um, well, no. Like I'd say that like Arab speaking dialects different to Fusha it isn't really something as new as that, I don't think. But the Arabic language being lost among the non-Arabs more is definitely as a result of colonization and influence from the West for sure. Like in Turkey, for example, and loads of countries that are majority Muslim do not use the Arabic script for their languages anymore, and like that seems like quite a there seems like there's definitely an agenda in that. Hey Sam, which scholars do you listen to? Look, I don't really want to make my channel sectarian, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm like, I'll be respectful, inshallah, to anybody. Like, we even have lots of non-Muslims on the Arabic in 60 Steps program, believe it or not, and they're obviously very welcome students, and they work very hard in their endeavours. So there's respect all round. But for me personally, Ustad Abdul Rahman Hassan is probably my favourite sheikh to listen to these days, and he's an individual who I've met a number of times, and his students as well are friends of mine. Um, Hi, may I ask where are you from? I'm from Cornwall. I'm from Cornwall, England, or rather the independent Cornish state separate to England. What source of books for Somali are you using? So I haven't really been studying Somali a whole lot lately. It's not been my main priority lately. But Martin Orwin's Colloquial Somali is kind of the cornerstone of most of my studies. I have a few other books as well. There's a Somali teacher called Uwais who lives here in London. I bought his books recently. Yeah, but then also Liban Ahmed's books as well. Dictionary of Somali verbs, as well as a revision of Somali grammar, I think it's called as well. Those are books I really like. Liban Ahmed's books are really nice. They're so compact, but they contain tons of really good stuff. Martin Orwin's Colloquial Somali and Liban Ahmed's works are really, really good as a combo for Somali. Is listening to the Quran a good approach to memorizing vocabulary and learn the language? Well, so it's that alone they're for different things, right? Like the Quran isn't it's not a textbook for learning the Arabic language. So but there are benefits other than that. Do you know what I mean? And it's important that when you study Arabic through the textbooks and the teachers and stuff that you use, that you maintain a good relationship with the Quran as well. Like quite often students come to me and they say they want to learn Arabic for the Quran, and then they'll read anything but the Quran. Do you know what I mean? They're always asking me for extra readings and examples of stuff, and there's tons of it in the Quran. Like if students had a regular relationship and regular reading of the Quran, it would solve so many of their problems in their studies. Like you'd so often see the things that you're learning in your study in your programs and stuff. Like I so often honestly one of the things that's kept me doing the Arabic in 60 Steps program for so long is students on step 2 messaging me and saying I can access this in the Quran now. Or like I was in Taraweeh, students who are doing it in the month of Ramadan, right? Like I was in Taraweeh and I could understand these ayat because of what we learned in steps 1, 2, and 3. Do you know what I mean? Like students that early in the program, because they're having contact with the Quran regularly, they're able to kind of memorize that stuff better and apply it to the things they actually want to. So question, where do we sign up? So go to arabic60steps.com, or failing that, if the URL redirect doesn't work, go to my Instagram bio, the Arabic in 60 Steps Instagram, and click on the link in the bio. Yeah. Yeah. So if our friend earlier, Yaz, sorry, I don't know if you're a brother or sister, but our friend Yaz joined, then we only have 22 spaces left in the program as well. So don't procrastinate, please, inshallah. Wassalam, which country's Arabic is good for learning closest to Quranic Arabic? Unfortunately, there is no country that speaks a language close to it. But your question was closest, right? So I would say one of the Shami countries. I would say maybe when possible Syria, but at the moment that's may Allah protect the people of Syria. But at the moment that doesn't seem like it's possible. So I found I found the dialect in Jordan to be to be good. Difficulty with Jordan is that in the cities, especially Amman and other big cities, is it's too easy to find English speakers. You know, yeah. But yeah, Saudi Arabia. My wife grew up in Riyadh, and her Arabic is I've found really accessible. As a person who's never been to one of the Gulf countries before or anything, like her Arabic is good. You know, her Arabic is close to Fusha in terms of how dialects go. But also something I will mention about that question is that sometimes even within countries, dialects can really vary. You know, like I found in Palestine, like in Nablus where I was living, people actually live in Nablus. Their Arabic is really Fasih. You know, like even like the people who even live there can speak Fusha, many of them. Do you know what I mean? But then as soon as we went out into like, you know, places that are a bit more rural and stuff, you find some really funky pronunciation. Like I can't remember even the name of it, but there was this village that we used to go out to quite often because there was a guy there who had like this Tablighi Jamaat out there, outside of Nablus. I don't remember where the area was now because he always used to take us around, but like out in his village, people called a kelb a chelib. Think of that. So they didn't even pronounce the kaf there. And that's in Palestine, and like a few miles west or whatever in Nablus, people you're not hearing people call a dog a chelib. You know, yeah. I have when I was at SOAS, there was a PhD student there, whose research concluded that the Sudanese dialect was the closest to Fusha. I don't have any first-hand experience of that. One of my close friends, brother Ziad, shout out to brother Ziad, he's a Sudani, and when I've stayed at his house, his mum's Arabic was really close to Fusha, but it might be because she's well educated and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, those are just a few of my ramblings. I hope that helps in some way. But yeah. All right, guys, I've been on for a little while now, so I need to go, inshallah. But next thing, so the thing for you guys to take away, inshallah, is number one, if you want to join the Arabic in 60 Steps program, please do this month, because I don't know if I'm going to take any more students after this month. Maybe ever, but I don't want to make any commitments to that just yet, because I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, inshallah. But please don't dilly-dally, don't procrastinate, get yourself stuck in, inshallah. And you can do so going to arabicin60steps.com, or if the website doesn't work, then you can go over to my Instagram, Arabic in 60 Steps, and click the link in the bio. So that was the first thing. About joining the Arabic in 60 Steps program. And the next thing was join me on Wednesday at 6 p.m. for episode 13 of the Alauddin series, or come on Monday if we aren't able to get it out on Wednesday. But I'll update you all on Instagram as well if you follow me on Instagram. So yeah, that's everything. May Allah bless you guys. Jazakumullah khairan for all of your du'as. I really, really appreciate all your positivity. Man, may Allah bless you guys. I absolutely love you guys to bits, man. I love you guys for the sake of Allah. For those of you in the chat who have joined the Arabic in 60 Steps program whilst we've been chatting, I'll check in with you guys soon. You'll receive the WhatsApp number. Yeah, and there's the last question. Can you do the Arabic in 60 Steps program in your own time, Sam? Yes, you absolutely can. It is entirely self-directed, no matter what time zone you're on or anything like that. No problem at all. It's entirely self-directed, and yeah, you'll get all the support that you need as well. That's everything for today, guys. If you have any other questions, you can email me, sam@arabicin60steps.com, or come over to Instagram, or just comment under this video as well. I'll get around to it sometime, inshallah. But anyway, you guys have an absolutely amazing evening if you're here in the UK. If you're over the pond, then have a good rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.